Today, Friday, our last Friday of Lent. Can you believe it? Next Friday, we'll be in the middle of Good Friday. So this being our fifth and final Friday of Lent. The Gospel today, John chapter 10, verse 31 to 42. We hear that after this great argument that has been going back and forth between Jesus and the Jews, and that we've been reading the past week, comes to an end. They try to stone him, but he eludes them, and then it says, he went back across the Jordan to the place where John first baptized, and there he remained. Notice this very powerful thing. Things are escalating. The Jews are getting really upset. They're finding now ways that how can we kill this person? He made himself to be God. And once it's escalated, he already knows, okay, this is it. The hour to come is around the corner. I know this is going to happen. So where did he go? He goes back to where it all began for him in his public ministry, baptism. Goes back to the Jordan River. Goes back to remember that event when John the Baptist, pour water upon him. The heavens opened. And he heard with this great conviction of his own heart, now knowing it as a truth, as a fact, as part of his identity of who he is, the Father saying, you are my beloved Son. In you I am well pleased. So everything is escalating. It is coming to the point where they're now going to plot of how to get rid of this Jesus. And he knows the hour is there. And what does he do? He goes back to his identity, back to the truth of who he is. I am the beloved Son of the Father. The Father delights in me. I am yours. I am here to do your will. And he's prepping himself. This is a moment of retreat before what's about to happen and what we commemorate next week with the Holy Trinity. Now, this being the last Friday of Lent, it is very likely, perhaps not you, I'm not going to preach to the choir, but perhaps to the people who may happen to stumble upon this video and they just find out, what? It's already the last Friday of Lent? Oh my goodness, this Lent was really a bad Lent. I wanted to do this, and that, and I didn't do it. My prayer was really weak. My fasting, I ate meat a couple of times on Friday. My giving, I was so... And then the person, not you, of course, you're the choir. I'm not preaching to the choir. But I'm just giving you words that you may help others who may be feeling that way. And perhaps you had a whole agenda of things you were going to do during this Lent time. And now that we're coming to the end, you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even do half of them, or even a quarter of them. And you may be feeling guilty. You may be feeling a little disappointed with yourself. Hold it before you start these self-accusations, before you get the whip and start telling yourself how bad or a horrible person you are. Hold on, let's just study this a little bit. In my experience, often people set up very lofty goals during Lent. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And often it's the trick of the evil one, wanting you to be able to do, to set out to do great things, knowing that you were not going to be able to do it. And now that you're coming towards the end, now the battlefield and all the prep work has been done so that the evil one can now start accusing you. Saying, oh, you see, you were so Christian, and you said you were going to do this, and look at you, you didn't even do this. When you hear that voice, get behind me, Satan. That's the voice of the accuser. He's accusing you. You have no reason why to listen to that voice. We're not sons of Satan, we're sons of a Father. We go back to our baptism. We go back to that place where we were baptized and when we felt, heard, know ourselves to be beloved children of the Father. We are children. He's our Father. So one, keep that in mind. Don't give yourself into the accuser, because that's not the voice you should listen to, but rather to the voice of the Father. The voice of the Father will be gentle, will be loving, will be very wise. And the voice of the Father about this time, when we're beginning to question if we did a good enough job, and the voice of the accuser begins to increase its volume, the voice we should be looking for is the one that sounds like this. I know, my child. I know you love me. And here should be echoes of Jesus asking Peter, who betrayed him, do you love me? Yes, I do. Peter, do you love me? Yes, I do. Peter, do you love me? And the response of Peter, Jesus, you know everything. You know I love you. Feed my lambs. So that voice of the Father spoken through Jesus, asking you, almost as if to redeem you, not as if, but indeed to redeem you and to free you from the voice of the accuser, the Father asking you, do you love me? Yeah, Father, I love you. Do you really love me? Yes, Father, I love you. Do you really meant to do all the great things that you wanted to do with your life? Father, you know everything. You know I really wanted to do this. It's okay. And here the Father, in tenderness, in love, says, it's okay, my son. I know you tried. I know you were willing. I know you. I created you. And I know those were pretty lofty goals, but hey, for the little things you did all right. And here, in the wisdom of the Father, he may say something to you in this line. But son, instead of thinking of what you did or not did, how about thinking the things that I've been doing in this Lent to help you pray, fast, and give? And in that conversation with the Father, he's going to do he's going to play the movie of the past 40 days. And he's going to remind you of that great difficulty you have with that friend of yours, or with your spouse, or with your loved ones, or your parents, or your children. He's going to remind you of that. So you remember this? Yes. And did you notice how you responded differently? Instead of doing the typical thing you did, perhaps you changed the degree. Instead of your typical number 10, at least you tone it down to a 7 or a 6. Did you notice that? And you're like, yeah, that was your prayer. That was your fasting. That was your giving. Oh. And then he'll continue to play the movie of the past 40 days. And I now want you to do that with the Lord. All right, this past 40 days, how has my Father, remember, you're the child. The Father is the one who will provide. You wanted to do this, this, and that, but that was you as a child. Now, as a child of a loving Father, try to review and see how the Father, who is the provider, who is the one educating you, raising you, forming you, who wants the best for you. Now look at how he has orchestrated the past 40 days for you to have a very unique Lenten experience. And how he did that through the experiences, the crosses, the challenges that came your way. It just didn't come out of nowhere. It came from the heart of the Father, allowing difficulties in your life so that through it, he can work something greater in your life. When that situation happened, how you were quick to turn to God and say, why are you allowing this to happen? And then you were all angry, venting against God, but you were talking to him. That, my brothers and sisters, is prayer. Talking to God. Even if it's out of your frustration and anger. That's prayer. And perhaps that situation caused you to have to give something that you didn't want to give. You didn't want to give up that. And the circumstances gently forced you to have to give up something you like because that situation demanded you to do something else or to give it up. Perhaps you wanted to go on a vacation and then things happen and there goes your vacation. Well, that was your fasting. That which you wanted to do so much, a good thing, very fun thing to do, perhaps something you enjoy, and you couldn't do it because life circumstances came their way. It was not life circumstances, it was God the Father really forcing you to fast of something. To give. How often the challenges that we experience challenge us to give. Perhaps you have some money saved up because you wanted to buy a nice dress or some jewelry or something that you've been saving up and you helped out. There you were giving. So as we come to our final Friday of Lent, do a review. Look back. Not what I have done or failed to do during this Lent. Turn to the Father. Go to the Jordan River. Go to your baptism. Renew your identity. I'm a beloved son of the Father. I'm a beloved daughter. I'm a beloved child of God. Not so much what I did or failed to do. Actually, a few days we have left. And above all, to participate fully in our Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Vigil. So, as we come towards the end of our Lent, let us return, like Jesus, to the Jordan. He went back across the Jordan to the place where John first baptized, and there